A homeless boy, a stormy night in Lagos. One scream in the rain and one choice that changed his destiny forever. The rain hit Lagos hard that night. Thunder rolled over the rooftops like angry drums. Water rushed down the streets, carrying plastic bottles and lost shoes. People ran for cover, but one boy stayed under the bridge. Tunde, 17, sat on a torn carton. His jeans were wet. His stomach growled. Still, he smiled at a small radio beside him. Tunde whispered, "Maybe one day." He pulled his old jacket tighter. Around him, the world looked too busy to care. Cars sped past, lights flashing. Nobody saw the skinny boy hiding from the storm. Then came the sound that would change everything, a car screeching. Tires against wet ground. A woman screaming. Tunde jumped up. Across the road, a black SUV had stopped near a light pole. The headlights blinked through the rain. A woman stepped out, clutching her belly. Her fancy coat clung to her like paper. She looked scared, more scared than he had ever seen anyone. Tunde ran toward her. "Ma, are you okay?" She turned, eyes wide. Voice broke. "Please, help me. My baby." She stumbled and fell straight into his arms. Her skin felt cold. Her hair stuck to her face. "Hold on, Ma. You'll be fine," she whispered. "Don't let them find me." Then her eyes rolled back, and she went still. Something shiny slipped from her wrist. A gold bracelet with tiny letters engraved. Tunde grabbed it, wiped the mud, and stuffed it into his pocket. He looked around, shouting for help. Nobody stopped. People only stared through their windows. A bus conductor yelled, "Boy, leave am. Nah, police matter be that." But Tunde didn't care. He lifted the woman in his arms. She was heavier than he thought. Rain poured into his eyes, but he kept going. He knew one place that never turned people away. Mama Bisi's food. Stand near the bus park. Mama Bisi was frying suya when she saw them. Her eyes widened. "Tunde. Jesus. What happened?" "She fainted, Ma. She's pregnant," he panted. "Lay her here." Tunde. He placed her on a bench under the tin roof. The smell of grilled meat filled the air. Mama Bisi threw her wrapper over the woman's body. "Go call Dr. Chike," she said. "Tell him it's life or death." Tunde sprinted off. Rain slapped his face. He reached the phone booth, shaking coins in his hand. The line crackled, and an old voice answered. "Who is this?" "Not Tunde. From the market. Doctor, a woman is dying pregnant. By Mama Bisi's stand. I'm coming," the doctor said and hung up. When Tunde got back, the woman was breathing weakly. Mama Bisi held her hand, praying, "Lord, save this mother and her child." Moments later, Dr. Chike's rusty Corolla rolled in. He checked her pulse, her belly, her breathing. "She's lucky you brought her," he said. Another hour and both would be gone. He injected her with something, then looked at Tunde. "You did well, boy. You saved 2 lives tonight." Tunde smiled, water dripping from his hair. He didn't feel poor right then. He felt proud. By midnight, the rain had slowed. The woman was sleeping under a blanket. Tunde sat beside her, fighting sleep. Mama Bisi handed him a bowl of warm pap. "Drink. You need strength too." He nodded. "Thanks, Ma." She smiled. "You have a big heart, my son. Not many people stop these days." Tunde looked at the woman. Her face looked peaceful now. He wondered who she really was. Morning came with weak sunlight. The city smelled of wet earth and diesel. The woman opened her eyes slowly. Tunde jumped up. "You're awake!" She blinked, confused. Where am I?" "Safe," he said. "At Mama Bisi's food stand." Her hand went to her stomach. "The baby?" "Alive, Ma." Doctor said you both okay. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She whispered, "Thank you." Tunde smiled shyly. "You scared me last night." She tried to laugh. "I scared myself too. Mama Bisi brought jollof rice and pepper soup. Eat." "My daughter," she said. "You need food in that belly." The woman ate slowly, quietly. She looked around at the small shack, the wooden tables, the rusty roof, the smell of suya. Then she looked at Tunde. "You helped me, but why? You don't even know me." Tunde shrugged. "I just saw someone in trouble. That's all." She studied him. Eyes soft. "Still, thank you." Later that evening, Tunde noticed her staring at her bracelet. She held it like it was life itself. "Where did you find it?" "In the mud," he said. "Near the car." She smiled weakly. "You saved more than my life." "This was my mother's." Tunde nodded. "Then it's in the right hands again." As days passed, she told them, her name started to look stronger. She helped Mama Bisi slice onions, clean tables, and even laugh with customers. She never spoke about her past, but sometimes Tunde caught her staring into space, eyes full of pain. At night, she would step outside to make phone calls. Her voice was low, shaky. "No, I can't go back," he once heard her whisper. "They'll find me. Tell Dapo. I'm done." That name again. Dapo. Tunde didn't know who he was, but the way she said it made his chest tight. One night, thunder rolled again. Amara couldn't sleep. She sat on the bench, rubbing her belly. Tunde sat beside her. "You miss home?" She nodded slowly. "Yeah, but home isn't safe anymore." He waited, hoping she'd say more. But she only said, "Sometimes, running is the only way to stay alive." Tunde looked at her, confused, but quiet. He wanted to ask questions, but something told him not to. The next morning, he went to the market to sell empty bottles. People shouted prices, buses honked, and music blasted from shops. Then he saw a man in a black suit, showing a picture around. "Have you seen this woman?" the man asked. Tunde froze. It was Amara's photo. The man continued, "There's a reward. Mr. Dapo wants her found today." Dapo. The name hit him like thunder. Tunde ducked behind a taxi, heart racing. He waited until the man got into his car before running home. His feet splashed through puddles. He burst into Mama Bisi's stall. "Amara, we have to go." She turned, startled. "They're looking for you. A man showed your photo. He said Dapo sent him." Her face drained of color. She stood, clutching her belly. "That means they're close." Mama Bisi frowned. "Who are these people?" Amara's lips trembled. "It's a long story, but if they find me, they'll take everything, even my baby." "Then you can't stay here," Mama Bisi said firmly. She packed food into a paper bag. "Go, before it's too late." Amara hugged her tightly. "Thank you, Mama. I'll never forget you." Tunde grabbed his small bag. "I'm coming with you," he said. Amara looked back at him. "You don't have to." He shook his head. "I want to." Mama Bisi nodded proudly. "Go, my son. God will guide you." Rain started again as they stepped into the street. Thunder cracked. Lagos traffic screamed like angry horns. They moved fast through the alleys, trying to stay unseen. Tunde held her hand, helping her jump over puddles. You okay? He asked. I'll manage, she said, breathing hard. Behind them, a black car rolled slowly down the road. Headlights bright. Engine humming. Amara gasped. That's them. Run. They ran past food stalls, through side streets, under flickering lights. Rain hit their faces, but they didn't stop. The car sped up. Men shouted from inside. Tunde pulled Amara behind a parked truck. Stay down. The men got out, looking around. She was seen around here, one said. Tunde's heart hammered. He held his breath, clutching Amara's arm. The men searched both sides of the street. Flashlights cutting, through rain. Then honk! A second car screeched from the corner, splashing water everywhere. The men turned toward it. Tunde grabbed Amara's hand. Now! He whispered. They ran again, disappearing into the night. But as they turned a corner, something shiny fell from Amara's bag. A ring with a blue stone. Tunde bent to pick it up, but headlights hit his face. Another black car blocked the road. The door opened slowly. A tall man stepped out, umbrella in hand. He wore a dark suit, gold watch glinting. His voice was calm, cold. Amara, he said, you really thought you could hide from me? Amara froze. Her face turned pale. Dapo, she whispered. If this story moved your heart, stay close. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. The rain hit harder. Thunder rolled across the sky as if warning Lagos to stay awake. Tunde's heart thumped. The man with the umbrella stared at them. Calm, dangerous, sure of himself. Amara stepped back. Her hand went to her belly. Dapo, don't come closer, she whispered. Dapo smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. Still running, Amara? Even in your condition? Leave us alone, she said, her voice shaking. Us? He asked, raising an eyebrow. He looked at Tunde. And who is this? Your new driver? Or another street boy you picked up? Tunde clenched his fists. I'm not her driver. I'm her friend. Dapo chuckled. Friend? You think she makes friends with people like you? Tunde wanted to speak, but Amara's hand touched his arm gently. Don't, she whispered. He's dangerous. Dapo's men stepped out from the car, two big men in suits. Rain dripped from their coats as they spread out. Get in the car, Amara, Dapo said, coldly. You know you can't hide forever. Amara shook her head. You lied to me. You tried to destroy my company, my name, my baby. I'll never go back. Tunde's eyes widened. Company? What was she talking about? Dapo sighed, pretending to be patient. Amara Sterling, the great billionaire heiress, living like a beggar under a bridge. Quite the fall. Tunde's mouth dropped. Billionaire? He whispered. Amara's eyes filled with tears. She nodded slowly. Yes. I didn't tell you. I couldn't. The words hit Tunde like lightning. All this time, the woman he carried through the storm was one of the richest women in Lagos. But why? He asked softly. Why would you hide that? Amara's voice broke. Because the man I trusted, the man I loved, wanted me gone. She looked straight at Dapo. You stole everything from me. My company, my money, even my peace. Dapo smirked. Don't twist it. You were weak. You couldn't handle power. I was pregnant, she shouted. And you wanted me out of the way so you could take control. Tunde stared between them, trying to understand. The rain blurred his vision. Is he your husband? Amara's lips trembled. He was. For a second, everything went quiet. Only rain. Only breathing. Then, Dapo's voice cut through. This boy doesn't need to hear our story. Bring her. The guards moved forward. Tunde stepped in front of Amara. "You'll have to go through me first." One guard laughed. "Move, small boy." Tunde didn't. He grabbed a metal rod from the street and swung it wildly. The guard blocked it, but the sound made nearby people turn. "Police!" Someone shouted from a window. Dapo cursed. "Enough! We'll meet again, Amara." He pointed at Tunde. "And you remember, kindness can get you killed." The men jumped back into the car and drove off fast, tires splashing through water. Tunde stood there, shaking, breath heavy, watching the taillights vanish into the storm. They hid inside a small shop until morning. Amara sat on a stool, holding her belly, tears in her eyes. Tunde watched her quietly. "So, you're really rich?" he finally asked. She nodded weakly. "I was, till Dapo betrayed me." "How?" Amara took a deep breath. "I was the CEO of Sterling Holdings. My father built it before he died. Dapo was my manager, smart, loyal, or so I thought. We got close. Too close. When I got pregnant, he changed." She looked down, voice trembling. "He wanted control. He wanted everything. He forged my signature, took company shares, and when I confronted him, he tried to ruin me." Tunde frowned. "But why didn't you call police?" She smiled sadly. "You think power doesn't buy silence in this city? He had people everywhere." She looked away. "When I found out he planned to take my baby, I ran." Tunde stared at her. "That's why you were scared that night." Nodded slowly. "I had nowhere left to go." Silence filled the shop. Outside, the city woke up horns, buses, sellers shouting, "Agag bread." Tunde sat beside her. Amara. You don't deserve this." "Nobody does." She gave a small smile. "You're kind, Tunde. You remind me of the life I lost." He looked away, embarrassed. "I don't have much, but I'll protect you." Her eyes softened. "Why are you helping me?" He shrugged. "Because you helped me first. You smiled at me like I mattered." For the first time since the night she crashed, Amara laughed. It was weak, but real. And that small laugh gave both of them a reason to keep going. The next day, they found shelter in a half-empty apartment building. The landlord, an old man with a missing tooth, gave them a small room. Tunde fixed broken chairs and fetched water from a well. Amara rested, trying to recover. For a few days, peace returned. They shared meals, mostly bread and tea, and told stories about childhood. Tunde talked about his dream to work in a car garage someday. Amara talked about missing her late father. Papa used to say, "Money can build a house, but not a home," she said softly. Tunde nodded. Mama Bisi says the same. But peace doesn't last long in Lagos. One evening, while Tunde was out buying food, a strange man knocked on their door. Amara peeked through the crack. The man wore delivery clothes and carried a brown envelope. "For Mrs. Sterling," he said. Her heart stopped. Nobody here knew her real name. She took the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a note short, typed in bold letters. "You can't hide forever. We know where you are." She dropped the paper. Her stomach turned. When Tunde came back, he saw the fear on her face. "What's wrong?" She handed him the letter. His jaw tightened. "It's Dapo." Amara nodded. "He found us again." Tunde looked around. "We can't stay here. Let's go. To Mama Bisi. Maybe she'll know what to do." Amara hesitated. "I don't want to drag her into this. She won't care. She loves helping people." Finally, she agreed. They left at dawn, moving through side streets. The city smelled of fried plantain and fresh rain. Tunde carried a small bag. Amara held her belly carefully. When they reached Mama Bisi's stand, the woman nearly screamed with joy. "Ah, my children!" You're alive. But her smile faded when she saw their faces. What happened again? Long story, Tunde said. We just need a place to stay for a few hours. Mama Bisi nodded. Of course. You're safe here. She gave them hot jollof rice and cold water. As they ate, Amara stared at the road, lost in thought. Later that evening, Tunde heard a car stop outside. He peeked through the window, a black SUV again. He rushed to Amara. They're here. Mama Bisi's eyes widened. Inside. Quick. They hid in the back, behind sacks of onions. Footsteps approached. Then Dapo's voice came from outside. Evening, madam. I'm looking for a woman and a boy. They might have passed here. Mama Bisi didn't flinch. I sell food, not secrets. You want suya? Dapo chuckled. Sharp tongue. But if I find out you're hiding them, I'll shut this place down. He tossed a card onto the counter and walked away. Tunde held his breath until the car drove off. When he finally exhaled, Mama Bisi whispered, That man smells of evil. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She sat outside, staring at the gold bracelet in her hand. Tunde joined her quietly. I keep thinking, she said softly, how life can change in one moment. I had everything: cars, house, business, and now I'm hiding behind onion bags. At least you're alive. That means you still have a chance to get it all back. Amara smiled sadly. And you? What do you want, Tunde? He looked up at the sky. Real life. A job. Maybe one day a home. She turned to him. You deserve that. You have more heart than most people I've met. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the sound of night traffic. The next morning, Amara made a decision. Tunde, I'm tired of running, she said. If I want my life back, I have to face Dapo. Tunde frowned. You mean go to him? Not to him. To the media. To the police. I still have proof in my office safe. Emails. Contracts. Recordings. He stole everything, but he can't erase evidence. Then we'll get it, Tunde said. Amara shook her head. It's risky. The office is heavily guarded. He smiled. You saved my life with food and kindness. Let me save yours with courage. She stared at him. The homeless boy ready to fight for her. Her eyes filled with tears. Okay, she said. We go tonight. They waited till dark. Lagos lights glowed like gold dust in puddles. Tunde borrowed a delivery jacket from Mama Bisi's nephew. Amara covered her face with a scarf. They took a bus to Victoria Island, where the Sterling Holdings building stood tall like a glass mountain. Tunde whispered, It looks like heaven. It used to be my home, she said softly. They slipped through the back gate. Amara still remembered the code. Her hands shook as she punched it in. Inside, the halls were quiet. The air smelled of polish and expensive perfume. They reached her old office on the top floor. The lights were off. Only city glow lit the glass walls. Amara opened her safe behind a painting. Tunde stood by the door, keeping watch. She pulled out a small flash drive. This holds everything, she said. Proof of his fraud. Then let's go. But just as they turned, the elevator dinged. Footsteps. Dapo walked out, slow, confident, clapping his hands. Bravo, Amara. You came right back to me. Tunde stepped in front of her. I knew you couldn't resist, Dapo said. You think I don't know every code in my own company? He looked at her belly, then at the flash drive. Hand it over. Now. Amara backed up. You won't get away again. Dapo smiled coldly. Oh, I already have. He snapped his fingers. His guards appeared from the shadows. Tunde's pulse pounded. He looked at Amara, scared, cornered. He grabbed her hand. Trust me. And before anyone could react, he threw a chair at the guards and smashed the fire alarm. Red lights flashed. Sirens wailed. Smoke sprayed from the ceiling. People in the lower floors started shouting. Run! Tunde yelled. They ran down the emergency stairs. Guards chased after them. Amara clutched the flash drive like her life depended on it. They burst out into the rain again, breathless, hearts racing. A bus driver shouted, Hey, you too. Need a ride? Tunde waved him down, and they jumped in as the guards spilled out of the building behind them. The bus sped off, into the night. Amara leaned against the seat, shaking. You could have died for me, she whispered. Tunde smiled faintly. You saved me first. She looked at him, truly looked at him. The street boy, who risked everything. Maybe you were sent to me for a reason, she said softly. But as they disappeared into the traffic, neither noticed the black car following far behind them. Inside it sat Dapo, face cold, phone pressed to his ear. Follow them, he said. The boy is becoming a problem. The bus rushed through Lagos like a frightened animal. Rain slapped the windows. Tunde sat beside Amara, both breathing hard. He glanced at her. You okay? She nodded weakly. Her hand still clutched the small flash drive. This is all I have left, she said. If we lose it, everything's gone. We won't, he said firmly. I promise. But outside, a black car followed quietly through the storm. Inside, Dapo's eyes glowed cold in the dim light. Don't lose them, he ordered his driver. After an hour, the bus stopped near the old bridge. Tunde helped Amara down. The rain had slowed to a mist now, soft and gray. Where do we go next? He asked. Amara looked around. There's a small radio station near Yaba. I have a friend there. Ifeoma. She can help us show this to the public. Tunde nodded. Then that's where we'll go. They started walking through narrow streets filled with puddles and tired lights. The smell of roasted corn filled the air. People laughed, unaware of the danger around them. But Tunde kept glancing behind. He could feel it, the shadow following them. When they reached the radio station, it was almost midnight. A tired security man at the gate looked up. Who wanna be? I need to see Miss Ifeoma, Amara said quickly. Tell her Amara Sterling is here. The man blinked. Sterling? As in the billionaire woman? Amara nodded. Please. It's urgent. He frowned, then made a quick call. A few minutes later, a woman in glasses ran out from the building. Amara! Oh my God! You're alive! Amara smiled weakly and hugged her. Ifeoma, I need your help. Dapo stole everything. I have proof. But he's after me. Ifeoma looked at Tunde, then back at her. Come inside, quick. The studio was small but warm. Posters of radio shows covered the walls. A single bulb flickered above. Amara plugged the flash drive into a computer. Emails, recordings, and documents appeared on the screen, proof of Dapo's fraud. Ifeoma gasped. He forged your signature on company transfers? Yes. And he paid off the board to remove me, Amara said. If we air this live, people will know the truth. Then, let's do it, Ifeoma said firmly. But before she could move, the power suddenly went out. Darkness filled the room. Tunde froze. That's not normal, Ifeoma whispered. The backup generator should have kicked in. Then came the sound of boots outside, and the smell of cigarette smoke. Dapo's men. Tunde grabbed Amara's hand. We have to go now. They slipped through the back door, into the rain again. But headlights flashed across the alley. The black car blocked the exit. Dapo stepped out slowly, clapping. "I told you, Amara. You can't run from me." His voice was calm, but his eyes were wild. He turned to Tunde. "And you, the little hero, you think you can play savior in my story?" Tunde stood firm. "It's not your story anymore." Dapo laughed. "You're brave. Stupid, but brave." He pulled a gun from his coat and aimed it straight at Tunde. "Move aside." Amara gasped. "No. Don't hurt him." But Dapo sneered. "He's just a street rat. He means nothing." Tunde raised his hands. "Maybe I'm a street rat, but at least I have a heart." Dapo's finger tightened on the trigger. Then a police siren wailed, from the main road. Red and blue lights flashed in the rain. Someone had called the cops. Dapo cursed. "We'll finish this later." He jumped into his car and sped off, tires screeching. Minutes later, police officers stormed the area. Amara showed them the flash drive. They took them to safety, and one officer promised, "We'll protect you now, ma'am." At the station, Amara gave her full statement. They copied the files and sent them to the national press. By morning, the news exploded. Billionaire heiress Amara Sterling exposes corporate fraud and betrayal. CEO's betrayal uncovered Dapo on the run. TVs, radios, and phones buzzed with her name. Everywhere people talked about the woman who lost everything but fought back. Tunde watched from a small bench outside the police office. He smiled as Amara's face appeared on the screen, strong and calm. She had her life back. But peace was never full in Lagos. That evening, as Tunde waited outside the police compound, a car stopped nearby. He didn't notice at first, until he felt a sharp sting on his neck, and everything went black. He woke up, tied to a chair in a dark room. Rain tapped on the windows again. His head ached. A door creaked open. Dapo walked in, holding a gun. "Finally awake?" he said coldly. "I warned you not to get involved." Tunde struggled. "You won't get away this time. Everyone knows what you did." Dapo smirked. "You think truth matters here? Money still talks." He pulled out a phone, showing a video of Amara on the news. "She's famous again. But fame can be temporary." Tunde's blood boiled. "If you touch her—" "Oh, I won't touch her," Dapo interrupted. "But I might hurt what she loves." Tunde frowned. "Her baby?" Dapo smiled darkly. "Or you?" He raised the gun slowly. Then something caught Tunde's eye. A bracelet on Dapo's wrist. Gold. Shiny. With the same engraving as Amara's bracelet. Tunde froze. "Where did you get that?" Dapo looked down. "This? A gift from an old friend. Her name was Funka." Tunde's heart dropped. "Funka? That was my mother's name." Dapo chuckled. "Then I guess we share more than you think." Tunde's voice shook. "You knew my mother?" "Knew?" Dapo laughed coldly. "Boy, I am your mother's biggest mistake." Tunde's breath caught. "What are you saying?" Dapo leaned close. "She worked for me before you were born. I gave her money, shelter, even love, until she betrayed me too." Tunde's voice broke. "You're lying." "Am I?" Dapo pulled out a faded photo from his pocket, a young woman holding a baby. The woman was Tunde's mother, and beside her stood Dapo. Tunde's world spun. The man who ruined Amara's life was his father. "No," Tunde whispered, shaking his head. "You can't be." "Oh, but I am," Dapo said, smiling cruelly. "And now you're going to help me, or she dies." Tunde's eyes filled with tears. "You're a monster." "Maybe, but I'm a powerful monster." He pointed the gun again, but before he could shoot, the door burst open. "Police, drop your weapon." Officers stormed in. Dapo fired once, hitting the wall, then tried to run. Tunde kicked the chair forward, tripping him. The gun slid across the floor. One officer grabbed Dapo and pinned him down. "You're finished," Tunde said, breathing hard. Dapo glared at him. "You think you've won? You'll always be my shadow boy. My blood." Tunde looked away, tears mixing with sweat. "I may have your blood," he said softly, "but I'll never have your heart." Hours later, Amara rushed into the station. When she saw Tunde, she cried and hugged him tight. "Thank God you're safe." He held her, still shaking. "It's over. He's been arrested." Amara nodded, wiping her tears. "It's over for him, but not for us. We still have to live." She looked at him carefully. "What did he say to you?" Tunde hesitated, then whispered, "He said he knew my mother." Amara frowned. "What do you mean?" Tunde took a deep breath. "He's my father." Amara gasped, covering her mouth. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then she whispered, "Tunde, that means..." He nodded. "Your baby and I, we share the same bloodline." Weeks passed. The trial became national news. Dapo was sentenced for fraud, kidnapping, and attempted murder. Amara regained control of her company. But she chose to live differently. No more mansions. No more luxury cars. She bought a small apartment and opened a charity foundation for street children. The first person she hired was Tunde. He worked hard every day, now wearing clean shirts and a hopeful smile. One afternoon, while they watched the sunset from her balcony, Amara said softly, "You know, when I first met you, I thought you were just a boy with nothing." Tunde smiled. "And now?" She looked at him. "Now I know you're the reason I still believe in good people." He chuckled. "You're the reason I believe in second chances." A few months later, Amara gave birth to a baby boy. She named him Hope. Tunde held the baby carefully, smiling down at him. "He's beautiful," he said. Amara nodded. "And he'll grow up knowing truth, not lies." Tunde looked at her bracelet, still shining, still whole. "I kept my promise," he whispered. "I protected you." She smiled. "And you found something even bigger. Family." He looked at the baby again. "Yeah, family." Outside, the sky cleared. The same city that once broke them now watched them heal. The rain had stopped, but its memory stayed a reminder of the night. Kindness changed everything. Kindness can come from the poorest hands. And sometimes, the people who save us are the ones who needed saving too. Never underestimate what one act of love can do. It can rebuild lives, reveal truth, and create a new family from broken hearts. If this story touched you, hit like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more emotional African stories. The morning sun hit Lagos softly. For once, there was no rain, no thunder, just calm. Birds sang above the busy road. The smell of roasted corn mixed with perfume and car smoke. Inside, a bright office with glass walls, Tunde stood beside Amara. It had been 6 months since that stormy night, the night their lives collided. Now, he wore a white shirt and a new watch on his wrist. He still looked humble, but something in his eyes had changed strength. Amara sat behind her desk, typing slowly. The sign behind her read, "Sterling Foundation. Hope for every child." She looked up and smiled. "How's our new team doing?" Tunde checked his clipboard. "We've taken in 15 kids this week. Most from the same bridge where you found me." Amara's eyes softened. "Good. They'll never sleep hungry again." He nodded proudly. He had helped build this foundation from nothing, a home for street kids, orphans, and broken families. But not everyone liked what they were doing. That same week, Dapo's old business partners tried to buy the foundation land. They sent letters, threats, and even fake investors. Amara frowned at the papers on her desk. They won't stop, she said. They still want control. Tunde shrugged. Then we give them something they don't have. What's that? Honesty, he said. And a clean heart. That's something money can't buy. Amara smiled faintly. You sound like my father. He grinned. Maybe I'm learning from you. That evening, after everyone left, Amara sat alone in her office. Her baby, Hope, slept in a small cradle beside her desk. She touched his tiny hand and whispered, You'll never know fear like I did. The light from the city glowed through the window, making her gold bracelet sparkle. It was still the same one Tunde had saved from the mud that night. She smiled softly. That boy really changed my life. Downstairs, Tunde locked the gate and stepped outside. The wind was cool. He sat on a bench, staring at the street, where children played with old tires. A few years ago, he was one of them. Dirty, hungry, forgotten. Now he was the one feeding others. He looked up at the stars and whispered, Mama Bisi, I hope you're proud. She had passed away a month ago. A quiet sickness took her before they could help. But her last words still rang in his heart. Tunde, remember, real riches are not in money, but in mercy. He smiled sadly. He missed her laughter, her food, her scolding. But he also knew she'd be happy to see what he became. The next morning, Amara called him into her office. There's something I need to tell you, she said. Tunde sat, worried. Is something wrong? No, she said, smiling gently. Something right. She opened a small envelope and pushed it across the table. Inside was a letter of scholarship, full funding for him to study business management at the University of Lagos. Tunde's jaw dropped. What? Ma? I can't. Yes, you can, she said, laughing. You deserve this. You've earned it. Tunde blinked hard to fight his tears. You gave me a family, a home, and now this. I don't know how to thank you. Just promise me one thing, she said softly. Never stop being kind. He nodded, voice shaking. I won't. Weeks passed. Tunde started night classes while still working at the foundation by day. He learned fast accounting, management, leadership. He didn't just want to work for Amara anymore. He wanted to build something of his own, something that could outlive both of them. One day, as he was leaving class, a young reporter stopped him. Excuse me, are you Tunde Sterling? He blinked. Sterling? She smiled. That's what people call you now. You work with Amara Sterling, right? The hero who saved the billionaire? He laughed awkwardly. I didn't save her. She saved me too. She tilted her head. That's what makes it a story worth telling. Her words stayed in his heart long after she left. Maybe our story wasn't about money or power, he thought. Maybe it was just about grace. Months turned into a year. The Sterling Foundation grew fast. They opened branches in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and even Accra. Thousands of children got food, education, and hope. And every child's story started with one photo on the wall, a picture of a rainy night, Tunde carrying a woman through the storm. Underneath it, bold letters read, One act of kindness can rewrite destiny. But not all storms stay in the past. One day, the police called Amara. Ma, Dapo wants to see you, the officer said. He's sick. Very sick. Amara froze. She hadn't heard his name in almost a year. She looked at Tunde. He's still your father, even after all he did. Do you want to see him? Tunde hesitated. 1,000 memories flashed: fear, pain, betrayal. But then he thought about forgiveness. He nodded slowly. Let's go. At the prison hospital, Dapo lay weak on the bed, tubes in his arms. His face looked older, smaller, broken. When he saw them, his eyes filled with tears. "Amara. Tunde," he croaked. Neither spoke at first. The silence felt heavy. Then Dapo whispered, "I was wrong." He coughed hard. "I hurt both of you. I ruined everything." Tunde looked at him quietly. "Why?" "I wanted power," Dapo said. "But I lost peace. I wanted wealth, but I lost family." Amara sighed. "It's too late for the past, Dapo." He nodded weakly. "I know, but I wanted to say sorry, especially to you, Tunde." Tunde's eyes filled. He had imagined this moment 100 times, him shouting, angry, blaming. But now, looking at the broken man on the bed, he felt something else: pity. He whispered, "I forgive you." Dapo blinked. "What?" "I forgive you," Tunde said again, louder. "Not because you deserve it, but because I need peace." Amara smiled faintly, tears in her eyes. Dapo closed his eyes, whispering, "Thank you." And that was the last thing he ever said. The next day, they buried him quietly. No fancy ceremony, no crowd. Just 3 people, Amara, Tunde, and a priest. Afterward, Amara turned to him. "You did the right thing." Tunde sighed. "It doesn't feel like victory." She nodded. "Forgiveness never feels like victory. It feels like freedom." He looked at the cloudy sky and smiled softly. "Then I guess we're free." Months later, the Sterling Foundation held its first annual award ceremony. The hall glittered with lights. Children performed dances and sang songs of hope. When Amara stepped to the microphone, the crowd clapped loud. She smiled, voice calm but strong. "Tonight is not about me," she began. "It's about a boy who once had nothing but gave everything." She turned to where Tunde stood, shy in his suit. "He carried me through the rain when no one else would stop. He didn't know who I was, but he chose kindness." The crowd cheered. Amara continued. "That one choice started all of this. The foundation. The homes. So tonight, I give this award to the real hero of our story, Tunde Sterling." Everyone stood, clapping and shouting his name. Tunde walked to the stage, nervous and teary-eyed. He took the award, a gold plaque shaped like a raindrop. He looked at the crowd and said softly, "I used to sleep under bridges. I used to beg for food. I thought the world forgot me. But one rainy night, I found someone who saw me." She didn't see a street boy. She saw a human being. The crowd went quiet. He continued, "If you ever get a chance to help someone, do it. You never know whose future you're saving. Maybe even your own." The crowd erupted in applause. Even Amara wiped her tears proudly. That night, after everyone left, Amara and Tunde stood outside the hall. Rain started again, light and gentle this time. Amara laughed softly. "The rain came back to bless us." Tunde smiled. "Yeah, but it doesn't hurt anymore." She looked at him, eyes warm. "Thank you, Tunde, for saving me." He shook his head. "No, Amara, we saved each other." They stood there under the rain, no longer broken, just 2 souls who found peace through pain. In the distance, city lights shimmered like stars, and the sound of children's laughter filled the air. The rain that once destroyed now felt like grace. Every storm hides a purpose. Sometimes, it washes away pain. Sometimes, it brings 2 lost souls together. Kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything. Forgiveness heals what revenge never can. And love, in its purest form, doesn't need blood or money to be real. He saved a pregnant billionaire, but she gave him back his life. If this story touched your heart, show some love. Hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more emotional African stories told with heart.